take a minute. Let's take a minute to analyze how the media dealt with last week's presidential debate. Not because it's still important, but because it says something about our media. The day after the debate, Bernie Sanders won the CNN focus group, the Fusion focus group, the Fox News focus group, the State online poll, the CNN Time online poll, the Street online poll, the Fox 5 online poll, the Conservative Drudge Report online poll, the Liberal Daily Kos online poll, and the MSNBC online poll has Sanders with 22,000 votes and Hillary with 3,600. On the other hand, Hillary Clinton won. Oh, wait, none, not one, not one poll did she win the day after the debate. Now, I want to show you CNN the day after.
Did we have a good debate last night?
That was Hillary Clinton in Las Vegas just a little while ago. She dominated the Republican debate.
CNN was so eager to say Hillary won, they even claimed she won the Republican debates. They then reported she won the Poughkeepsie Elementary School cook-off, a BET Viewer's Choice Award, and WrestleMania 13, which was 18 years ago, but she won it yesterday. We are all being blatantly lied to. And it's not just CNN. The New York Times, The New Yorker, Politico, Slate, New York Magazine, and Vox all unanimously say Hillary Clinton cleaned house. How could she win if she lost every single poll?
Even though Bernie Sanders won the focus groups and Bernie Sanders won the online donations and the number of Twitter followers, a lot of professional inside the Beltway Democrats were happy.
Oh, well, then maybe instead of your screen saying Clinton dominates debate, it should say Clinton gave in. That commentator just candidly admitted that the power elite, the rulers of the corporate state, picked the president, not the American people. It's very rare you hear that on TV. But hold on. On Monday, CNN came out with a poll saying most people who watched think Hillary Clinton won. Oh, so after a few days of being told on loop by the media that Hillary dominated the debate, the people started to believe Hillary dominated the debate. This is not a poll of who won. It's a poll of whether pop propaganda works. Or pop propaganda, as I just said, which is a much more fun kind of propaganda. So I dug into the numbers, though, on their poll. I looked into them. The poll was 1,028 people, which includes 628 interviews among landline respondents. Who has a landline phone? And not only has a landline, but is answering a landline phone. If the landline rings, I usually assume it's the serial murderer. I wonder how Hillary is doing among people who only communicate with cans tied to a piece of string. Of those 1,000 adults, 19% had never heard of Bernie Sanders. Why are you talking to these people? If they're answering the landline and they've never heard of Bernie Sanders, perhaps they're not right for a survey on who. Maybe there should be some questions to weed out some of the respondents, such as, do you know where you are? Do you know how to clap your hands? Do you know what noise a piggy makes? When the phone rang, did you first answer the banana next to your bed? This survey consists entirely of people going, hello? What? Hillary won the debate! Don't forget the honey mustard! Is this Tony Danza? Okay, so 62% said Clinton won, Clinton did the best job. That number is based on 163 Democrats or independents who watched the debate. And 62% of 163 is 100 people. With a sample size that... Do you know how crazy 100 people can be? I could find 100 people who think the moon landing was fake, but Star Wars is real. In my apartment complex. And then Time came out with, they also said Hillary won while quoting the CNN poll. And they said, despite the consensus that Clinton won the debate. What consensus? Who are you looking at?
So we've told you a million times, don't listen to the mainstream news media this primary season when they talk about Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. Fair, that media watchdog group, pointed this out. They've created this Washington Post over a 16-hour period. Over a 24-hour period, had 16 negative stories in a row about Bernie Sanders. Now, let's remember, this was after he had just won 3 out of 4 primaries. Let's remember that, right? And here's just some of them. This shows you the media bias. Here's some of them. What Bernie Sanders still doesn't get about arguing with Hillary Clinton. That's one. 5 reasons Bernie Sanders lost last night Democratic debate. Next one, Bernie Sanders, 2 big lies about the global economy. Next one, mental health patients to Bernie Sanders. Don't compare us to the GOP candidates. These are all in a row. This isn't like picked out over a couple of weeks. This is a one day. Every story in the Washington Post. Here's another one. Clinton is running for president. Sanders is doing something else. What are you talking about? An awkward reality for Bernie Sanders, a strategy focused on whiter states. Here's another one. Excuse me, I'm talking. Bernie Sanders shuts down Hillary Clinton repeatedly. He said it one time.
If you are talking about the Wall Street bailout, where some of your friends destroyed this economy, excuse me, I'm talking.
Let him respond.
If you're going to talk, tell the whole story, Senator
Let
Sanders.
me tell my story, you tell yours.
I will.
Your story is for voting for every disastrous trade agreement and voting for corporate America. Did I vote against the Wall Street bailout? When billionaires on Wall Street destroyed this economy, they went to Congress and they said, oh, please, we'll be good boys, bail us out. You know what I said? I said, let the billionaires themselves bail out Wall Street. Shouldn't be the middle class of this country.
He said that one time. By the way, he was being interrupted by Hillary Clinton. Is it not okay to say, excuse me, I'm talking during a debate? Again, the point of this is not individually any of these stories are screwed up that much. They are, I think, but that's not the point. The point is, taken together, it shows you the unbelievable bias in mainstream news media. Now, was there a phone call from Jeff Bezos to everybody who works at the Washington? I want nothing but negative. No, but they all live in that same bubble. We showed you on that other video when Brian Williams asked the Washington Post reporter, do you think Chris Christie's working with Donald Trump? Is he a steadying hand for Donald Trump? And the Washington Post reporter said, oh, yeah, he's a steadying hand. They just listen to each other. They just and then they just repeat it. Well, if Brian Williams said it, must be, well, Sanders must be doing poorly. He must have lost the debate. He must not have a chance because everyone I'm working with and everybody in the mainstream news media keeps saying this. Here's some more headlines. Why Obama says bank reform is a success, but Bernie Sanders says it's a failure. So they pit him against Barack Obama. Bernie Sanders pledges the U.S. won't be number one in incarceration. He'll need to release lots of criminals. That's the headline.
Great spin.
And why are these headlines important? Because they've done research, and you know that 40% of the people only read the headlines? That's why they make headlines, because only 40% of the people actually even read them. And so that's why they're important. Here's some more. The NRA just praised Bernie Sanders and did him no favors in doing so. It's just one negative story after another negative in a row. What is this, 15, 16 totally negative stories in a row? And they made a big deal out of it, and it got retweeted a million times, and everybody's talking about how screwed up the Washington Post was in doing so and how, wow, they really kind of pulled the curtain back and we saw the bias in the mainstream news media. But it gets better because guess what? The Washington Post responded to the criticism from FAIR and the media watchdog group FAIR. They responded to them. They did an internal investigation. The Washington Post did an internal investigation about the bias. And I think you'll be glad to find out there isn't any. And you know how I know? The Washington Post investigated themselves.